Prosper Log, show date 150207. How are all you carbon-based life forms out there doing this evening? I'm doing well, as always. Got to start it off right. Got to start it off with our unofficial sponsor for this week's entry. That goes to the lovely Cat Sky, also known as Cat Thompson. Cat is single-handedly responsible for quadrupling my fan base on my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/LLAProsper. Cat Thompson, a lovely lady. She recently met a few Star Trek actors, most notably Marina Sirtis, during a shoot. Cat, you are a lovely person. You're a lovely lady. I hope to meet you in person someday. To you, the Prosper salute. Thank you for sponsoring this week's entry. Before we move on, I'm thirsty. So let's start it off right. Lakefront Brewery Incorporated Fuel Cafe, 6.4% alcohol by volume. The proper opening apparatus, the Enterprise bottle opener, which has replaced the blue Bic lighter. Just replace this dude. Proper opening apparatus, proper technique. I'm still mastering this thing. There we go. Poured into the proper consumption apparatus. Looks yummy. I'm having a good day today. Let's go with good spot. Cheers to you all. Kapla, as they'd say in the Klingon Empire. All right, what this show is all about: the friends, the fans, the birthdays. First birthday from the 3rd. Ashley Rader. Now, Ashley's a gal I met here online. I was looking for some stuff to, kind of help ease the wife a little bit. She is a pure romance consultant here on Earth Station Okinawa. Ashley, happy birthday to you. We still got to meet up so I can get my stuff off you. I'm still working it. We're gonna make it happen. To you, cheers. Happy birthday. Next up, same day, my cousin by marriage, one of several, Cathy Tracy. Cathy, sweetheart, how you doing? Hope you had a good birthday. I hope things are going well for you. Cheers to you. Happy birthday. Next on the list, a fellow brother Mason, the one and only worshipful brother Mmichael Lichty. Now, I met Mmichael in Germany back in 2012? 13. 12. Back in 2012. Brother Mike, how you doing? Saw recently where you retired from your last job. Congratulations to you. The Prosper salute to you as always. And I drink to you. And finally from the 3rd, this is a guy that I have known since 1998? 99? 99. Ray Vicchetti. Now, Ray is an art teacher, currently living in New Jersey. Yep. If God were to give America an enema, he'd stick it in New Jersey. Or as George Carlin would say, kiss her where it smells, take her to New Jersey. Ray, my friend, happy birthday to you. The Prosper salute to you. Keep on doing what you're doing. You're making an impact on these younger minds. You may not realize it, but you are. And my friend, brother to you, happy birthday, and let's drink. All right. Next on the list, from the 4th. Now, I have yet to meet you in person, but Ashley Schrum, I think she just recently became legal. And by legal, I mean old enough to consume one of these. Ashley, happy birthday to you. Hope you had a good birthday. Excuse me. Hope you didn't party too hardy. And cheers to you. All right, next on the list, from the 5th. This gal she's an unofficial member of the family. By unofficial, I mean she's not technically related, but she's one of those friends that's close enough. Abbey Hayden. Now, she was one of my wife's bridesmaids. And she is, like I said, she's one of my unofficial sister-in-laws. Abbey, excuse me. Hope you had a good birthday. Hope Andy spoiled you. You deserve it. To you, I drink to you. All right, next up on the list. From the 6th, Roger Wheatley. Now, I actually know Roger from back in my days in Hagerstown, Indiana. Back before I started doing my current job. Roger, to you, happy birthday. I hope things are going well for you. Things are doing pretty good here. Hope to see you again sometime. And I drink to you. Next up, from the 6th, Casey Polenko. Now, she is married to my dad's girlfriend's adopted son. So, yeah, screw it. She's an in-law. I don't care. Dad and his girlfriend have been together long enough. They're in-laws. I don't care. Casey, I hope your birthday was a good one. I hope you partied hard and enjoyed, but I hope you were responsible at the same time too, sweetheart. To you, I drink. All right, and the final birthday. She's actually a published author, and I am proud to own her first book called Wiener Brain, written by Lindsey Stuffle. Now, Lindsey was a few years ahead of me in school. She was my next door neighbor there for a little bit when Dad and I moved to the house that he's living in now. Lindsey, I'm sorry, but I've only read about the first 40 pages of the book. Things happened in life. Moved again. Just put it down, set it off the side. Honestly, kind of forgot about it in the middle of the move. I'm going to pick it up again. Lindsey, congratulations to you. Are you working on your second or your third book now? Hit me up. Let me know. Happy birthday to you. The Prosper Salute. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'm gonna get through Wiener Brain one day. And I drink to you, my friend. All right. Birthdays. Done. Let's move on to the additional greetings. Now, before I go any further, yesterday I logged 8 years doing my current job. 8 years. That is probably the longest I've been employed with somebody. That's, other than school, that is the longest I have dedicated to another. Well, that is like the third. This is like third longest amount of time I've dedicated to an organization. And I want to take a moment. I want to take a moment to thank all the friends, the colleagues, and all my friends and colleagues I have met and that have been an influence in my life for the last 8 years. That have been an influence on my career. From here at Earth Station, Okinawa, Doug Molesky, Mike Wyant, you guys have done a lot for me here. Thank you very much. From good old Germany, Shaun Williamson, Stephanie Eccles, Bill Henning, you guys have done a lot for me. You guys kind of helped lay the foundation. Kinda. When I moved tiers, you guys laid that foundation, and to these next guys that laid the very initial foundation when I started working, Matt Becker, Lorin Ladson, Kevin Hawks, and finally Josh Baker. Now, excuse me, I try to talk to all y'all that I just mentioned. I try to talk to y'all at least every now and then. Granted, I don't always succeed, but I try my darndest. To you all, excuse me, thank you for the influence you had on this young man at the time, on this young 24-year-old man when some of y'all first met me. You ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you very much for your influence on me, your impact on me. I give you all the Prosper Salute. And while I'm talking about you, Doug, congratulations on the birth of your daughter. Congratulations to you. Very, very happy for you. To all you all, I drink. Drinking responsibly, of course. I may have a drink, but I'm not getting behind the wheel. Some people don't know how to do that. As far as I'm concerned, once I pop that top, the keys are going to the wife. All right. Knocked out all the additional greetings. That's probably a record for me. Knocked them all out in the course of 2 minutes. Additional greetings, Dunskies. Let's move on to this week in Trek history. February 2nd, 1949. Logging 66 years on Mother Earth, Brent Spiner. Who's that, you might wonder? Played Lieutenant Commander Data on The Next Generation. Those 4 movies, and he also played a multitude of other characters. He played other members of the Soong family. He played a small role on the Star Trek Enterprise 3-parter dealing with the augments in the 22nd century. He's also one of the Star Trek characters that I relate to nowadays. I still have trouble getting some jokes. Hey, it happens. I don't care. On that same day in 2010, for all you gamers out there, Star Trek Online was released in North America. Star Trek Online takes place in the year 2409. Excuse me. It starts in the year 2409, in the early 25th century, in a state where, in the Prime Universe, it's a continuation of the Prime Universe, where you had Captain Kirk, Picard, Sisko, Janeway. It's a continuation of the Prime Universe set in the early 25th century, where we are still we are back to a state of not peace with the Klingon Empire. Good game. I've got a handful of characters on that game. Hit me up sometime. Hit me up privately, or down here in the comment section. Hit me up for my gamer tag. I'll be more than happy to give it to you. I'll log in, try to find you guys, see if you can find me. We'll make some magic happen in the Alpha and Beta and Delta quadrants. Delta quadrant now. And the last birthday from February 8th, 1955, Ethan Phillips. Now, who's that, you might wonder? Well, he played Neelix on Star Trek Voyager. Voyager's chef, part-time security officer, morale officer, ambassador, tour guide of the Delta Quadrant. He was a jack of many trades, probably a master of none of them. Hey, it happens. Turned 60 back on the 8th. Happy birthday to you wonderful actors. The Prosper salute for making your characters larger than life and making them all household names. And I drink to you. Alright. Trek history. Done. Well, alright. This next thing I got to talk about, just got to talk about if for nothing else to get it out of the way, the Super Bowl. Very, very disappointed. Seattle lost the Super Bowl this past weekend. Gave those frickin' cheaters their 4th ring, their 4th championship. I watched the play, and I got to talking to a buddy of mine. I got talking to Wally on here, Wally Fortier of Wally's Aluminum Shaping Process. I got to talking to him on the Facebook, and there probably should have been a pass interference call on that last play. He even had good sounding wording to back it up too. I honestly don't care. My Colts weren't in it. The Indianapolis Colts were not in the Super Bowl. Honestly, I was just watching that game as the last hoorah for football season. Seattle lost the Super Bowl. It is what it is. I personally don't care anymore. I was looking at 2015 before the whole Deflategate even hit the Facebook. So Seattle, you lost the Super Bowl. You had a chance to be a twofer if it hadn't been for that interception right there at the 2-yard line. It happens. Worst time for it to happen. It's done. I got to drink more after that. As devoid of life as the brain cells of a Sequest fan. Excuse me. Well, like a Boy Scout, which I never was, I came prepared and I brought reinforcements. Blue Moon Mountain Abbey Ale. 5.6%. I think this is my last one of these, actually. Proper opening apparatus. Proper technique. Bam! Got it. I'm getting good with this thing. Got used to the lighter. Still trying to figure out the Enterprise. It's working. It is working. Kapla! For those of you that don't know, in Klingon, kapla means success. But I use it as a proper cheer because I've seen it done. All right, let's move into the historical databank, shall we? This week's Star Trek episode, This Side of Paradise. The Enterprise crew finds happiness at a colony where alien spores provide total contentment. Basically, the whole crew gets shot with spores and they all get high. We even see Spock smiling, laughing, carrying on. He's enjoying himself. Highly illogical. All right. Let's move behind the scenes, shall we? In Jerry Soule's original draft, first titled Power Play, then The Way of the Spores, it was Lieutenant Sulu who was infected by the spores and was able to fall in love with the Eurasian beauty Layla. McCoy discovered an internal condition that would have necessitated Sulu's resignation from Starfleet service had the spores not cured his condition. His illness gave Sulu a will to develop a relationship with Layla, just as similar circumstances would later affect McCoy's judgment in For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. The spores, in the early drafts, were a communal intelligence. When someone was possessed by them, that individual was granted telepathic abilities to link up with the other possessed minds. The abilities of the spores to restore health were complete enough to enable them to return the dead to life. The antidotes for the spores were either the possession of a certain blood type or the introduction of alcohol into the affected person. Originally, Kirk leaped onto Spock and forced liquor down his throat to restore him to normal. In a surprise ending, the spores were revealed to be benevolent, conscious entities who never intended to act against anyone's will. Very interesting. Very interesting, although I don't think that would have fit Kirk's character much. I can see him doing that to Scotty and getting away with it, but not Spock. According to Dorothy Fontana, the episode had to be seriously rewritten because Soule had not quite gotten it right. Gene Roddenberry told her, "If you can rewrite this script, you can be my story editor." She thought about it and eventually realized that the story wasn't really about Sulu, but about Mr. Spock. Nimoy, who was initially taken aback when he was told that they were working on a love story for Spock, later felt that the episode turned out to be a lovely story. Yeah, I honestly don't see that as quite a Sulu story. I really don't. One of the basic aspects that Fontana immediately changed was Soule's original conception of the spore plants residing in a cave. Thus, to avoid the danger of the plants, the crew merely had to avoid the cave. Fontana put the plants anywhere around the planet and later the Enterprise to make them a real menace. Excuse me. Can you imagine spores in a cave? I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Spores grow out of mold if I remember correctly. But yeah, to avoid the cave, really? Come on. That's weak. Weak sauce. Jerry Soule was unhappy with Fontana's rewrites of his script and credited himself under his pseudonym, Nathan Butler. I got a pseudonym myself. I ain't never telling. At least not on the show anyway, but I got a pseudonym. Fontana very much liked the finished episode. She recalled, "It worked out very well because the actors were brilliant for me. We had a very good director, and I really like it." The script featured characters named Lieutenant Timothy Fletcher and crewman DeMont as members of the landing party. When Michael Barrier and Grant Woods were cast in these roles, the names were changed to DeSalle and Kellowitz, respectively, to appear constant with the two actors' previous appearances on the series. Good on you guys. Very, very good on you. Continuity. Gotta have it. I'll drink to continuity. Originally, The Devil in the Dark was scheduled to be filmed before this episode, with Ralph Sininsky directing it and Joseph Pevney directing This Side of Paradise. But during pre-production, the two episodes were switched and changed directors. It was due to producer Gene Coon's assumption that Devil would be a tough assignment for a first-time Trek director. Good episode. Both are good episodes. In a blooper, Leonard Nimoy flubs his line about the plants acting as a repository for thousands of spores. Repository? Respiratory? Yeah. Instead, he says the plants act as a suppository. The crew cracks up, as does Nimoy, who caps the fun by putting a Tootsie Pop in his mouth. Very funny. Excuse me. Drink to the suppository line. The empty shot of the bridge before the turbo lift opens to admit Kirk was the best available piece of film for the Next Generation episode Relics to reuse as the holo simulation of the 1701 bridge. The short snippet of film was looped several times and blue screened in behind James Doohan and Patrick Stewart's scenes. Excuse me. Using the stock footage in this way eliminated the need to completely rebuild the bridge. Then we shot a short section of the computer stations, the door alcove, and the command stations for the Next Generation era actors to sit at. In Layla's first close-up, Jerry Finnerman lighted Jill Ireland with a baby spotlight from behind, adding an aura of light around her face. Whew. Good thing this is my last beer. Sininsky originally wanted to film the Kirk vs. Spock fight scene from a wider angle, so the stunt doubles wouldn't be so obvious. But the transporter room set was too small to achieve this. Yeah, could you imagine him doing it in engineering? Holy crap. Gerald Fried's score from Shore Leave is heavily featured in this episode. Most notably, the Ruth theme, successfully accompanying the lost love between Spock and Layla. The large meadows seen in several sequences is in Malibu State Park in Southern California. It is the same spot where the hunt in the cornfield took place in Planet of the Apes, and also extensively used in the series Gunsmoke. And the barn Kelowitz and Sulu investigate can be seen in several episodes of Kung Fu. The building scene in the teaser, the first scene after the scene in which DeSalle shows McCoy the spores, are at a different location than the building scene in the rest of the episode. The green farm structures were located at the Disney Ranch. The concept of Sandoval's people refusing modern technology was intended to justify the late 19th century Americano style of the ranch. Makes sense. According to director Ralph Sininsky, the original schedule was that the first 3 of the 6 shooting days were to be spent on location, shooting at the Golden Oak Ranch, also known as the Disney Ranch. Then the remaining 3 days indoors, filming the Enterprise scenes. However, after 2 days of shooting outdoors, Jill Ireland fell ill and couldn't appear on the set. It was in question if she had measles or not. Sininsky decided to film all the farm scenes which didn't contain Layla's character and then returned to the studio for Enterprise interiors in the remainder of the day, and hope for the actress's return. Ireland appeared the following day, as it turned out that she did not have the measles. However, the crew couldn't return to Disney Ranch as it was already booked for another production. They decided to film the remaining scenes in Bronson Canyon. Oh, excuse me. Whew. In the script, Kirk first spots Spock and Layla kissing passionately by the stream. There is no scene of Spock hanging off the tree limb. Excuse me. That facet of the episode may have been made up on the spot. Indeed, director Ralph Sininsky came up with the idea of Spock hanging from the tree on location, when he found the tree and the spot closely to Bronson Canyon. Originally, the scene was to be shot on a clearing. Evidence taken from a deleted scene of Spock and Layla's presence near the stream appears in the episode's preview trailer. Oh, excuse me. The food processors in the transporter room, placed there so Kyle could provide chicken soup for the air sergeant in Tomorrow is Yesterday, disappeared from the room by the end of the first season. Excuse me. In this episode, an enraged Spock destroys one of them. There is a piece of equipment attached to the left side of the transporter console. It seems to serve no purpose other than for Spock to hit it when he misses Kirk during their brief dust-up, and was only seen in this episode. In fact, it was not in the scene where 6 crew members, under the influence of spores, transport down. Really? That's messed up. Similarly, the tray-like metal object that Spock is poised to throw on Kirk at the end of Act 3 is not seen in the transporter room in any other episode. Here's one for you. The suitcase in which Kirk places his belongings, and which he later places on the transporter platform, is a very obvious piece of 20th century Samsonite luggage. Omicron Ceti 3 is M113 in the Man Trap. Alpha 177 in The Enemy Within, dyed a green color. Go figure. James Doohan does not appear in this episode, although he is referenced and asked for by Kirk. Whew, I'll get it. Stuntman Bobby Bass, whose character tried to break up the fight between the two officers, has his only lines of dialogue in the series here. Frank Overton died shortly after completing this episode, which was filmed in early January 1967. This is the last episode in which Eddie Paskey delivers dialogue as Leslie. It would have been nice to see more of him. Admiral Comac is mentioned in this episode. He is seen in Amok Time. According to Denise and Michael Okuda, the character was named for James Comac, director of A Piece of the Action. Wait a minute. James Comac hadn't directed A Piece of the Action by the time... Or he hadn't directed A Piece of the Action yet before this episode was made. Very, very interesting. Okay, moving on. In the Tholian web, Chekhov... Excuse me, I'm trying not to do a Shatner impression. In the Tholian web, Chekhov asks Spock if there has ever been a mutiny on a starship before. Spock replies that there has never been, despite the fact that the events of this episode were specifically called a mutiny. As established in the making of Star Trek, there are only 17 starbases. However, Kirk announces that he has been ordered to take the colonists to Starbase 27. Maybe they skip some numbers, who knows? Although DeSalle wears a gold uniform top denoting that he is a member of the Command Division, it is he who is assigned to deliver a biology report on the colony. A more logical choice would have been Kelowitz, a blue-shirted member of the Sciences Division. I don't know. At one point during his log recording, Kirk refers incorrectly to the planet as Omicron 3. And finally, an alternate reality version of Kirk would again attempt and succeed to provoke Spock to anger in Star Trek, the 2009 movie. Folks, it has been a pleasure as always to deliver this to you. Let me finish this and get out of here. As devoid of life as the brain cells of a Sequest fan. Folks, it's time to make like the Enterprise and warp out. Everybody take care. Have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because, well, you might spill your drink. More importantly, you might kill yourself or somebody else, and it's illegal. And drinking and driving is dumber than being a Sequest fan, and what's worse than that is for rooting for little cheating crybabies like Tom. Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl, and I can't win a game without deflating footballs, and my integrity's in question, and now all my Super Bowl victories are tainted. Brady, men slapping women, racism, animal abuse, fake friends, people who welch on bets, or anyone who is a member of, supports, or defends the Westboro Baptist Church. Things like that are just plain stupid, and I will not make time for them. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, it has been a pleasure bringing this to you, and I wish you all to live long and prosper.